The 6 simultaneous wildfires that have ripped across Los Angeles still threatened communities days later in one of the worst disasters in the city's history. The fierce Santa Ana winds that have fanned the flames will pick up through Wednesday, warned LA County Fire Chief Anthony Marone.
These winds, combined with low relative humidities and low fuel moistures, will keep the fire threat in Los Angeles County very high.
Several people have died in the flames. With many more missing, the death toll is expected to rise. Firefighters over the weekend managed to stem the eastward spread of the Palisades fire, the largest blaze, which had edged toward the Brentwood neighborhood and San Fernando Valley. Wide swaths of the Palisades have been scorched to the ground, with evacuation orders in effect in remaining areas, said LA City Fire Chief Kristen Crowley.
There are still active fires that are burning within the Palisades area, making it extremely, extremely dangerous for the public. There's no power, there's no water, there's broken gas lines, and we have unstable structures.
In Altadena, some progress was made on the Eaton fire, the second largest blaze, though its management is still, quote, a huge Herculean task, according to one local official. The two big fires combined have consumed more than 36,000 acres or 56 square miles, 2.5 times the land area of Manhattan. Officials have declared a public health emergency due to the thick, toxic smoke, with the flames carrying traces of metals, plastics, and other synthetic materials. President Joe Biden declared the fires a major disaster, clearing the way for assistance from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, which said active-duty military personnel would aid firefighting efforts.
An official Palestinian tally of direct deaths in the Israel-Hamas war likely undercounted the number of fatalities by tens of thousands as the Gaza Strip's healthcare infrastructure unraveled. That's according to a peer-reviewed study published in the Lancet medical journal on Thursday. Researchers estimated there were 64,260 deaths due to traumatic injury from Israel's air and ground campaign in Gaza in the first 9 months of the war, from October 2023 to the end of June 2024. That figure is 41% higher than the official Palestinian Health Ministry count for the time. The Lancet study said nearly 60% of those killed were women, children, and people over 65. It did not provide an estimate of how many Palestinian combatants were among the dead. The Lancet study said the Palestinian Health Ministry had maintained reliable electronic death records, but its capacity to do so deteriorated under Israel's military campaign, which has included raids on hospitals and other healthcare facilities and disruptions to digital communications. Israel says it goes to great lengths to avoid civilian deaths and accuses Hamas of using hospitals as cover for its operations, which the militant group denies. The war began on October 7, 2023, after Hamas gunmen stormed across the border with Israel, killing 1,200 people and taking more than 250 hostages, according to Israeli tallies. Palestinian health officials currently put the death toll of the conflict at more than 46,000 people. The Lancet study was conducted by academics at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, Yale University, and other institutions. Anecdotal reports suggested a significant number of dead lay under the rubble of Gaza and therefore were missing from tallies. So using data from at least 2 independent sources, researchers looked for individuals who appeared on multiple lists of those killed. This method, called capture-recapture analysis, has been used to evaluate deaths in other conflict zones. Less overlap between lists suggests more deaths have gone unrecorded, information that can be used to estimate the actual toll.
Foreign ministers and top diplomats from Western and Middle Eastern countries met with Syria's new foreign minister on Sunday, held in the Saudi capital Riyadh. It was the first such regional gathering on Syria since President Bashar al-Assad was ousted last month. In attendance were ministers from Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates and Qatar, as well as representatives from Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon and Turkey. Envoys were also present from the European Union and the United States. The meeting was the first to include both Syria's new rulers and top Western officials, and was led by Saudi Arabia. It follows a meeting of top diplomats from the US, UK, France, Germany and the EU held on Syria in Rome on Thursday. Some regional players have previously signalled concerns over Syria's new Islamist rulers and what they need to do to get international recognition. Chinese and Indian refiners are scouring the globe for supplies of crude, according to traders speaking to Reuters. It follows a move by the US last week to impose sanctions on Russian oil producers Gazprom Neft and Surgut Neft Gas, plus 183 vessels that have shipped Russian oil. The sanctions target revenues Moscow has used to fund its war with Ukraine. On Monday, China reiterated its opposition to unilateral US sanctions. Many of the tankers have been used to ship oil to India and China, as Western sanctions and a price cap shifted trade in Russian oil from Europe to Asia. Some tankers have also shipped oil from Iran, which is also under sanctions. Russian oil exports are expected to be hurt severely by the new sanctions, according to two Chinese trade sources. The expected disruption in Russian supply drove global oil prices to their highest in months on Monday. Among the newly sanctioned ships, 143 are oil tankers that handled more than 530 million barrels of Russian crude last year. One analyst told Reuters that's about 42% of the country's total seaborne crude exports. He added that of these, about 300 million barrels were shipped to China, while the bulk of the remainder went to India. The new sanctions could push China and India back into the compliant oil market to seek more supply from the Middle East, Africa and the Americas. Spot prices for Middle East, Africa and Brazilian grades have already risen in recent months on rising demand.